All right, so hi guys, I'm here with Owen Video. Video is not his last name, but he is known for that, and I really love his content. I've been binging a lot of the latest videos on his channel for sponsorships, brand deals,
Yeah.
really get into the details. Absolutely love it. But without further ado, Owen, I'm so glad you're here. Let's talk about our creator journey.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. Like I'm so excited to be talking to other entrepreneurs, especially creative entrepreneurs, right? You have a business and you want to share that message uh,
Mm-hmm.
on video or in a podcast. Like that is the kind of thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. QuickBooks, not so much, Excel spreadsheets don't so much get me out of bed, but I
I'm
love the
sure you're
creative
good at them.
process. No, I know how to hire people that are good at them. Oh my gosh. Like I want to get my reports on an Excel spreadsheet. I don't ever want to have to like create new Excel spreadsheet. It's so not the way my brain works. And I often talk to my clients about, when you build a system around your content, right? So you're no longer trying to squeeze content into your week, but it's like, no, my content generates leads. And so we want to systemize it. We want to outsource the production of it. You have to be in a place where you're excited about it. And it is a natural extension of what you do every single day. And I think that those are like the big things that we miss in content creation.
No, you get right in there. I absolutely love it. We're not trying to bury the lead here.
Yeah, good. That's journalism term.
We are here to talk about how to, how I think mature and professional, whether you're podcasts or YouTubers, but content creators in general are supposed to really face their business. What I also noticed, there's that trend, as you described, kind of for me to put in plain English, you're trying to help content creators understand that they are their own platforms as opposed to relying only on social media or something
Yeah.
so specific like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I can see that you are someone who believes in and really generates lots of multiple revenue streams.
Yeah.
And before I kind of make some assumptions here, I assume you're doing YouTube or content creation full time right now. You have your own business and this is kind of what you do, right, Owen?
Yeah, we have a coaching company called the Video Marketing School. And in the Video Marketing School, we help seven-figure entrepreneurs leverage the power of video on YouTube to grow the brand and to generate a steady flow of leads. And this is something YouTube was the best at this 10 years ago. YouTube is still the best at this. I have videos from 8 years ago that continue to get drive traffic to my Work With Us form. And so we have always believed in YouTube, but we also, for example, I spoke at a conference last week about taking your marketing off YouTube. And the only audience at that conference was, big YouTubers, millions, 10 million subscribers, 8 million subscribers. So their whole thing is like, how do I take this off of YouTube? And that's comes down into hiring the right people to do the right part of your job. So as the CEO of that coaching company, we do create our own products. So I have an Amazon Alexa channel called Life Automated. I do comedy videos with my family on TikTok on a channel called Them Hemsats. And my wife has a talk show called The Brave Talk Show. And so we like the business teaches entrepreneurs, but we've outsourced a good chunk of the business, right? It's a business. So what we do then is our company produces these other shows that we content create, right? So like we launched a show with our friend who's a doctor. He's actually my doctor. He's a naturopath, and we launched a show with him in partnership with him.
Wow.
So that's how our model works is that two-part model. The business runs, and that frees us up to do the content that we love to do.
Anyway, you're getting into some really juicy details. In fact, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk with your family. And I can see your two boys or babies in some of the earlier videos. They must be like young teenage. No, are they quite
I have a teenager now. I have a 14-year-old who's a teenager, and then I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And they love it. They love being a part of the videos. They love contributing to the jokes. Like our best performing video on TikTok is 10 million views.
Wow.
And I filmed it. It was my concept for sure. But then my son, he changed the joke at the end. He just said it under his breath, you know? And I go, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So we filmed his version and it became our top producing video on the channel. And, you know, I love the comments because the comments on TikTok, like they address him by name. They say, oh, hey, James, you know, hey, great. James was so funny in this one. Or I got a comment that was like, Benjamin cut his hair. Like, oh, I noticed Benjamin cut his hair. And it's like, you guys like know my family, you know, and that to me is a really special place to be.
Wow. I gotta explore TikTok. I didn't even realize that you had a channel, and it is something that it's quite happening. For, not every content creator would choose to partner with their family members in this case, your young kids, but I think it's so creative and you are paying attention to their, individual contributors, and they are, respecting their opinions and their content. Yeah, that sounds super fun. Would you encourage other people, parents?
Great question. That's what we would call our retirement channel. And we look at YouTube like we look at real estate, and we do invest in real estate as a retirement plan, just as we're investing in YouTube as a retirement plan. So, we've got the videomarketingschool.com where we coach entrepreneurs on how to grow their YouTube channels. But then we also have our own YouTube channels that bring us life and bring us joy. And these are things that we schedule them, but we schedule them as sort of like where other people might schedule racquetball, or where other people might schedule like a hike. Now we do some of those things as well. In fact, some of our videos are, let's go on a hike and film a video. But my point is that it's a dedicated, or I say it's a commitment, but not a full dedication to the channel. Like, we haven't uploaded to TikTok in a month, and that's okay. It bums me out. It's been a busy month. And so because it's a retirement channel, because it's like our nest egg, we can slow down there, build back the business, get back where we need to go, and then we'll start uploading to TikTok again. So I think that everybody out there, like if you've got a coaching company or maybe you're a gaming creator, think about like your retirement channel. And maybe you're a gaming creator but you work at Starbucks. Maybe the gaming creator channel is your retirement channel. But think about like what do you want to be doing in 10 years? What are you really passionate about? Sewing, quilting, like dog breeding. Like we all have these weirdo like niche things that we're into. For me, it's like Amazon Alexa and smart tech. I love that stuff. But I also love stand-up comedy, and like I want to be a comedian someday. So again, you're making tiny investments into your future on a secondary YouTube channel, but you still have your business that you need to run during the day.
Incredible. The long haul of being a content creator is something I feel like so few people have thought about or worried to go there. It just feels like there's time, there's money investment. Yesterday I spoke for basically at this virtual learning session for New York Public Library. And it was so cool because every time there are 200 people who sign up, half of them show up for the live session. And you learn so much from these Q&As. And I noticed a lot of people today are still stuck on at the beginning, as in they really want to know how quickly they can make money back. So I'm so glad that we are addressing that, but also think about like secondary channels, which is something that I'm currently working on. So I'll break it down a little bit. What do you think for people who are starting out? I'm sure there are people who are watching this and thinking about starting their own channel. In retrospect, you started 70 years ago, even, what have you learned? What are some of the things that you wish you knew then?
Well, YouTube's changed a lot. 7 years ago, when I first started, there wasn't like an algorithm per se. It certainly wasn't knowable, and there was no mentors that existed. There wasn't like Nick, Daryl, and Tim, and some of these people that know those names. Like they were just starting out, and so like finding coaching and finding training manuals, there was no YouTube creator playbook at that time. And so we were sort of scrambling around trying to figure out how this platform worked. And today, what I'm seeing is a lot of new creators using the tactics and strategies that we discovered way back then. And that's always like really energizing for me to see, is some new creator start making money on the platform quickly, following the format that I taught in webinars 3 years ago. So, what have I learned then through all that is that the algorithm now is knowable. And if you know how the algorithm works, you can make videos that cater to that algorithm. You present your content in a way that appeals to the human, right? So the algorithm is going to read the metadata. It's going to read sort of, in fact, your thumbnail, right? Your thumbnail is an image of the video, and it's what people click to watch, because on Facebook, it's autoplay, right? Like the video just starts playing. Whereas on YouTube, you have to click a thumbnail, and that's part of why it's a better platform for video. The people choose you, so they stick around longer, and you're like, YouTube's bots read your thumbnail, and they can tell if you have a fishing pole in it. They can tell if you have a salad in it. They can tell if you're smiling in it, and they can tell if you're like overdoing it on the cleavage. You know what I mean? And they will knock your video down for stuff like that. Not in all cases. There's it's kind of like in these stupid ads type cases, but you get it, right? So one thing I've learned is that the algorithm is knowable. The second thing is that you can make videos that trigger the algorithm, and then you present in your videos for the humans, which means that you title your video for a human, but you got to add words that the search engine will recognize. There in your video content itself, like if you're doing the whole like today's math class is based on 3 things, and I see people do this, like, welcome to your market report for Cincinnati, Ohio real estate, and it's like, then they'll do boring ass videos like that for a year, and then be like, YouTube didn't work for me. And it was like, no, you didn't work YouTube. Like, you thought a market update was what people wanted to hear, when in fact they wanted to hear a video that was like sort of like the worst homes in Cincinnati, Ohio - do not buy these, right? It's something that has a little bit more human appeal. Let me tell you, I bought multiple houses and never once did I check a market update first. You know what I mean? So, the other thing is, I'll say this, is that your video needs to be, your channel needs to be about a thing. And this is something that I wish somebody had taught me earlier on, because I struggled with this. My channel started as a web design channel, and then became sort of like an SEO channel, and then sort of became like a how to grow on YouTube channel, or really like how to use video in general channel. And that's what we would call a variety channel. And that's why, I've struggled to get past this point that I'm at right now at like 62,000 subs. What I think the best creators are doing right now is like, you pick a topic and you just go deep on that topic. And this is proven out time and time and time again. So you notice I said I have a comedy channel with my kids, but then I also have a life automated channel. It's about smart home tech. Those are 2 separate channels, because it's a different audience that will watch one than watch another. But Owen, I like mountain biking and I'm a real estate agent, so I'm going to do mountain biking in my real estate channel. Like, that won't work. Now, could you make references to mountain biking? Sure, absolutely. Like, it's the seasoning on the steak, right? But your channel can't be about like which e-bike is the best and how to buy a home in Cincinnati. You got to have a singular focus.
I'm so glad you touched upon that, because I think you share your struggle, and I have experienced that myself, in a way that YouTube chooses you. And YouTube basically surfaced my content as I was creating not just Zoom 101, because a lot of people were creating that type of content in early 2020.
Yeah.
But I dove into a topic which is focused around Zoom for musicians, for artists, for fitness people. All of a sudden, YouTube is like, wow, you're known for that. Let's just keep Faye making content like that. And of course, I started making about, lighting, equipment, audio, OBS, and all that's kind of related to that topic. But at some point, I kind of like, maybe use me as a guinea pig as well. At some point, I realized, I branched out to live stream because I'm a content creator. And that was interesting, right? Creating net new content, whether it's for transcription services. I saw you have some content around that, where restreaming, exactly how to use Restream without me mentioning Zoom was hard. All of a sudden, I can see a significant drop of oh, what is this? And granted, Zoom is like the hot topic for the past couple of years. What
Also
would you?
with an older
Yeah.
audience too, right? Like, because like we know how to use Zoom, right? But it was like our older colleagues that didn't know how to use Zoom. So when you start talking about OBS, that's now a younger audience, which isn't really like watching your content up to this point, and that's fine. You're building another leg of your table, and this is part of the YouTube journey. I have a friend right now going through this. She built a huge channel and a huge business on the Instapot and how to like different Instapot recipes. She's capped out, right? Like there's no growth. So she's created a new leg on like grilling, summertime grilling, and that's because we're coming into summertime now. So she, we were just hanging out at this conference last week, and she goes, like it's hard to get the views because these people came into my channel, largely women on Instapot. Grilling is more male, and so I'm building this whole new leg. It's just very frustrating, but we also know it's part of the process. Now, one thing that you could do in your case is make transitional videos, and I think this is key. So like if you're going to do, for example, we both use Restream for our, broadcasting platforms. If you're going to branch into Restream tutorials, but you've been in the Zoom space, what I would do is I would make 1 or 2 like videos that use the word Zoom and Restream in them together, right? And so what happens is you're starting to bring your older viewers into the Restream community through the bait of Zoom, but you're also telling the YouTube algorithm that these videos are connected, right? You're building a bridge between your two legs, and that is what triggers the suggested algorithm. So for anybody out there, if you've built a whole channel that's like listing videos, right? Like you're trying to sell houses, you're only going to appeal to people that are actively looking for that house, right? Because nobody's going to Google 5715 Olive Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. No one's going to Google that. And that's the title of your video, right? Or houses for sale, Florida could be a good one. But my point is, you want to branch out and create a new series that's like, I don't know, all the details of best gated communities. My favorite gated communities, best gated communities with schools in them, the best parks in the gated communities, and you become this gated community expert or a condo expert, or something, something like that. But branching out at strategic times is key.
Yeah, it's a really great point, and something very specific. So for instance, I did end up creating videos for how to connect Restream from within Zoom. So not just theoretically, I mean, realistically, you can simply go live right from Zoom. That was a huge deal for people who don't want to leave Zoom. Zoom has all these filtering things. It has a lot of limitations as well. But it's just hard for people to switch platforms. So that worked out well. Do you think, like, for instance, Owen, in my eyes, right, like I see myself as a creative entrepreneur, and that can mean a lot of things. Like if you think of yourself as a creative entrepreneur, you could be author, speaker, coach, podcaster, you name it, artist. So you could, basically approach a lot of content, which can be maybe too broad in some cases. But for me, sometimes for me, there's a bit of a struggle to say, I see myself as a creative entrepreneur. I want to share all the software and tips and tools that I'm using, including things like, I don't know, Squarespace, a lot of transcription services for my YouTube and everywhere else. And I also share my YouTube growth journey. Do you think there's ever an opportunity for people to thrive on a collective knowledge or knowledge base related to creative entrepreneurship? Or do you think, people are watching this, let's say they're kind of midway through, they're not just getting started. I think a lot of content creators who are maturing right now are really struggling with pivoting or kind of finding that bigger bubble to kind of host their content.
That's the decision that you have to kind of decide on who your audience is, right? Like, is your audience beginning creators? Okay. And if it is, remember that audience is constantly growing with all sorts of people that are in high school now that will graduate and realize, hey, I'm a creative entrepreneur. People that will get fired tomorrow at 22 from Starbucks and realize, oh, I'm more of a creative entrepreneur, or like me, I got fired at 30, and that's when I realized I was more of a creative entrepreneur. And so this is always growing, but they all have this one thing in common: they're just getting started. right? Now, to move into topics that are for more like intermediate, I mean, it's a whole different audience. You might be dabbling in a variety channel, and that could hurt you. You know, like, yeah, I mean, you've got 15,000 subs. So I think this is a good time for you to kind of like start reaching into this. You've been an entrepreneur for a while. And now you're sort of moving in, but I wouldn't ignore the other audience either. Like, you don't necessarily move on, you just include in addition. You know, Mr. Beast is a good example. Mr. Beast has about like 10 different content categories that he works in. He does like giveaways, and then he does you know, sort of like challenges. But if you look at his page, like, he has them all divided into 10 different playlists, and every video he does on that channel falls into those 10 different categories. And that's the direction that I would go. You know, the trouble that I see with creative entrepreneur is I see a lot of people using that term, but really they're affiliate marketers. And what I mean by that is you're making videos about software, posting links to the software and making money from the affiliates on that software. I do that too. There's nothing wrong with that. Is that a creative entrepreneur? Yeah, you know, like, I'm not sure. My friend Roberto Blake, you know, I think really has you know, cornered the market on creative entrepreneur. And it goes back to kind of that statement earlier on Excel spreadsheets versus Adobe Photoshop, right? Like, an entrepreneur is an Excel spreadsheets person. A creative is an Adobe person. And so for me, like, Adobe goes in front of the Excel spreadsheet. I'm Adobe first, and then I'm an Excel spreadsheet guy, right? Where am I making my money, right? Like, I make my money through the coaching program. I make my money through affiliate sales. I make my money through brand deals. I make my money through private coaching. And we also have AdSense, and we have these other side channels that we're building. I would call that an entrepreneur, right? Because it's like it's like a business that we could walk away from. What I see a lot of is people that are unemployed making YouTube videos, making $1 a day, talking about, I'm a creative entrepreneur. I'm not saying that's you, so please don't take that way. What I'm saying is, if you're a creative entrepreneur, for those of you listening, you have to be making money. You know what I mean? You don't just get to be an artist and say, I'm a creative entrepreneur, right? And I personally believe it has to be a certain amount of money. Like, if you're not paying your bills with it, is that what you're really doing? You know what I mean? So I'm passionate about this because I feel like a lot of pseudo experts go out there and they live at their parents' house, which is fine. But they don't have bills. They don't have kids. They don't have rent, and they call themselves creative entrepreneur. And it's like, no, you're a kid living at home, making YouTube videos, which is cool. But let's call it what it is, you know, because what's going to happen is a 40-year-old guy who wants to leave corporate America because he just got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease and he's tired of living his life this way. He's going to go follow that 17-year-old's lead and fall into a dungeon of dark despair, because that strategy will not build an income for him. You know what I mean? And so I want to I'm passionate about, if you want to become better at Adobe Photoshop, you find the right people to teach you that. But when you want to start making money and become an entrepreneur, right? That's why we call it the video marketing school, because our focus is not necessarily cameras and lenses. In fact, I probably have no videos on what camera and lens to buy. I probably have one, and I say, buy one of these 3 cameras. You know why? It doesn't matter. If you don't know how to market that video, you know? So I think it's very important to recognize what your objectives are. Is your objectives to make side income while your life is good? I support that. I love that. Let's call that what it is. But if you're trying to actually make video that turns into 7 figures, let's call that what that is.
Love it. I know I was smiling, even though situations are probably not funny for people who are in those situations, and unavoidably finding themselves believing in a dream, comparing their beginning to someone else's middle. It is a market that sometimes it's just hard to tell, what's up, what's down, who to believe in. And it's something that I tell people the moment I say, you know what, YouTube is a long game. You want to check in with yourself 3-6 months, but do plan for a year, right? When they say a year, a year is too long. When am I going to start making money? When will my channel be monetized? So I have a question for you, Owen, which is, At what point, 7 years ago, you started your channel. I haven't known you for 7 years.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize, okay, this is part-time living. Okay, this is full-time living. Could you give us like some
Yeah.
just mental
So
shifts, checkpoints?
here's a mental shift, right? Like
Mhm.
if you start a channel today about electric bicycles, that channel could be monetized today.
Mhm.
Right? When you're asking about when is YouTube gonna pay me, you have left the realm of entrepreneurialism and you have entered the world of jobism. You now work for YouTube.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. YouTube AdSense is one of many monetization pathways that exist on YouTube today. And where we excel and where we've always excelled is what I would call brand deals or sponsorships. And so what that might look like, and by the way, I'm coaching a real estate client in how to do this right now because his passion is mountain bikes.
Mhm.
And he doesn't want to do real estate forever. And so I'm helping him build his retirement channel. And it's about mountain bikes. So what we've done is we've put together like a list of 10 videos. He's actively now reaching out to the manufacturers of those e-bikes and asking them to sponsor these videos.
Perfect.
Right? And he has 0 subscribers. I don't even think the channel even exists on YouTube yet. Like it's just an idea yet. He's still got to like click start new account.
Mhm.
So why would a mountain bike company pay this guy for a video that has like no built-in audience? Okay. First of all, because what it would cost them to get their own video made and distributed and produced would be like $10,000.
Mhm.
Where we're going to offer them more like 5 videos for $5,000.
Mhm.
And then they have these videos that they can send to their email list. They have all these assets that they can use and reuse, and then we'll repurpose them for them and then give those to them. Like they're going to get like 7 to 10 videos for $5,000. So a company is going to go cha-ching. That makes a lot of sense for us, right? The YouTube artist is always looking at views,
Mhm.
right? But you got to understand Brian White, right? Brian White's another client of mine. Brian White has a video with 147 views, and that one video sold 3 houses in December.
Mhm.
Ironically, it was a market update video, which I hate. I hate market update videos. But he's like, I need to do it, Owen. And he did it, and he sold 3 houses from it. And so like that's the symbiosis I love having with my clients, where it's like, hey, you got to go with your gut, but here's my coaching. And I'm going with my gut. And he crushed on it. And so,
Mhm.
there is so much money to be made on YouTube before AdSense kicks in. But I feel like a lot of like new creators get stuck on AdSense and then they don't want to contact a brand. I
Yeah.
get it. It's scary to contact. It is. They're going to tell you no. So many people are going to laugh at you. But like the one that says yes just paid you $5,000. So
Yeah.
that's training that I have that I bring because I was a salesperson for years. I've been fired 22 times, mostly from sales jobs. And it's because I'm not a good corporate guy. Like I just don't. I'm not gonna wear a tie. Like I'm just things I'm just not gonna do for your company. Like I'm not gonna lose myself in your. I'm not a company man. You know what I mean? And my point is I learned how to sell. And so like calling a brand, not even calling, I did a video about an email marketing company, just a quick tutorial. And then I tweeted it to them and I said, hey, let's do a brand deal. This was like 6 years ago. I had 1,000 subscribers. I had nothing. And they paid me 4 figures to do a series of webinars for them. It wasn't even YouTube videos, but they liked my presentation style.
Mhm.
And they're like, what if we did these, you did webinars for us, Great. Webinars are live. I don't have to make a video for you. And I got paid like $4,000 to do that, to do like 4 different webinars for them. Then they referred me to another company
Yeah.
that gave me $2,500 to make videos for their channel, And then in exchange, they gave me this great affiliate rate. And then I made 5 videos in my course for them. Like there's a lot of money to be made if you can just get your mind like away from AdSense. Like AdSense will be there. It will show up. Not one creator I know
Yeah.
is raving about, and I know creators with 8 million subscribers, the biggest channels in the world, right, are some close friends of mine. And their whole thing is brand deals. It's the AdSense pays for the editing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now that editing might be 15 grand a month. Don't get me wrong. Like it's when you're a brand new creator, 15 grand a month sounds like a lot. And it is. But when your bills are 20 grand a month, it doesn't cut it.
Yeah. Well, how beautiful is that? Because what I noticed right away from creating content on YouTube is people started reaching out even before I became monetized. And that was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
And because I had the training as a podcaster since 2014, I started at a time where there were just not a lot of podcasters. I looked around at work, people are like, huh, like some people making fun of me.
So true,
right?
yeah.
They're like, good for you. But I kind of trained my muscle to reach out to people, cold calling people, or writing emails that didn't work, then worked later on. So what I love about your video of breaking it down. So Owen has this template and actually a product. You don't have to pay a lot of money to get the template, and he walks you through the beginning, middle, and end. And one of the, I think, some really juicy is the fact that you can offer these brands so much more than just, I'll create a video, I'll give you a shout out. But right. Yeah. Tell us about that.
More than that. Like have them send you free product. Like a great way to do this is to send you free product. Like we had Sensopods reached out to us. I'm a little bit too big to do free product deals. Okay. So like, you guys can hate on me, but like, it's like, come on, man, I got kids to feed. But I wanted to show my clients what it looked like to do a free product deal. So they said, hey, we'll send you these free earphones to make us any post on Instagram. Now, I'm not active on Instagram in any major way. So it's like, fine, like who cares? They sent me free earpods. I love them. In fact, if you want to get them, you can go to my Instagram, click on my link in bio. You get like 25% off. And I made this reel of me dancing. Now, none of my audience has ever seen me dance. And I don't dance. In fact, I remember dancing with a girl at a club when I was like dating, and like I dropped her. And it was like, and I told her I didn't want to go to clubs. Like, I'm not a dancing guy, right? Like I used to break dance, believe it or not, back in the 90s. A cardboard, I actually broke my hand break dancing. A cardboard in the driveway with me and the neighborhood kids, like that was my upbringing. So that, like, when it came to club life and everyone's like in these groups, like vibing, like I was like, where's the circle? Like I want to dance in the middle of a circle and do like backflips and stuff, like it was, anyway, I digress. But we were talking about something more important than that, and I got like sidetracked on my own story.
Oh, no worries. We were talking about that, you should offer more than one or two options. I love how you broke
more. Yeah. So I did this dancing video on Instagram. It is our best performing reel of all time. Yeah. And now I have this great success story to take to other brands. Yeah. So if you're just starting out, like go be like assertive. And talk to brand. Like, here's what you do. You go to Instagram or YouTube, type in #ad in the search bar, and you'll see all the different ad videos that creators are posting. I really love this for Instagram, and you learn who's doing brand deals. So you find products. Like if you have a dog channel, like find the dog channels that are, and say, hey, like, can you give me a month's supply? I'll do 5 videos for you, or whatever the case might be, but even to do, if you're like me and you've got sales skills and like you like webinars, like I believe that people like me have a big opportunity to be spokespersons. In fact, when I was a kid, Billy Mays was like my favorite guy. I don't know if you remember Billy Mays. He was a infomercial guy. So I'm Billy Mays, and today we're looking at the ShamWow. Like he wasn't the ShamWow guy, but like he had that big. In fact, he bumped his head on an airplane and died. Like I remember thinking, oh my gosh, Billy Mays. And then I remember thinking maybe I could take his place. Wow. That was like, I don't know, it's like 10, 11 years ago. Anyway, if you have a skill set like that, go to these companies and be like, I'll be your spokesperson. I'll make videos on your channel. What if a company paid you $1,000 a month to make videos on their channel? And that fuels you. That $1,000 is enough for you to start working part-time at Starbucks instead of full-time and focus more on your own channel. And now you're shifting things around. So brand deals are huge. They're limitless. And like it spans a range of products. It's just that you just got to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And start thinking like, this is the way to do it.
I know people ask me this question all the time. How do you reach out to people? I mean, first of all, if you have a cell phone, you have a computer, I don't care if it's 10 years old, right? People are everywhere. Brands are everywhere. You can find brands on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They're very responsive. Sometimes you don't get to the right person. That's true, because you might reach out to the support team. You know, your email might just float into the ether. Like nobody's going to read it. But as you get better at it, and especially when you target the right person, in a kit that I'm developing for YouTubers, as well as especially people who are starting out, I tell them to kind of pay attention to certain job titles. Frankly, not every company these days has an influencer department where they may be called something different, but there are, you know, marketers, they're L&D, they're community management, they're, you know, you can actually, yeah. What else, Owen, you said?
PR, public relations.
Yep. These are the people.
Yeah. And you reach out to them and you write them emails. And it's like, that's all I've ever done is tweeted and write emails. Mm-hmm. Except I went to, like, I go to a lot of conferences and I always work the sponsor areas. I went to Social Media Marketing World 2 years ago and I closed like 3 brand deals that day walking through. And when I say closed, like there's 2 levels. They said yes and then they paid. So a sale is really a 2-part thing, but I got 3 people to say, yes, definitely. Let's just figure out how much. That ended up being like $15,000. And what did it take from me? It took me just walking around. And, you know, one of those deals actually went sour. It was kind of like the girl who hired me was fired like 2 weeks after we got started. So it went sour in that there was no like I couldn't upsell them. Like we couldn't keep them on board because the guy who took over like didn't care about me. He's like, I don't know what she hired you for. Just finish it and give it to us. So I finished their videos and moved on. It was super easy. Like it was easy. Now, none of those videos ever saw the light of day. And that frustrated me, but I got paid, you know, either way. And this is the thing was when you work with brands, they're on a whole different like mindset. Like you're thinking $5,000, like, wow, it's a lot of money for a brand. Like they have to spend $5,000 in order to get their budget for next year. Like it's a whole different way of thinking. And a great time to approach brands is like November, December, when their budgets are being renewed. And they have money they have to spend. Like if they don't spend this money, they're going to have a lower budget next year. If you don't understand that, go watch The Office. They did a whole episode on it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Get money.
Nonprofits too, especially nonprofits even, and regular companies as well for your marketing dollars. So would you say that it may be wise to not only approach companies in November, December, but also pitch like serial content? Like let's plan something for the next year. Was it too aggressive for?
Yeah, no, never say like it's always yes and, right? It's always like, sure, that's great. And we can also talk about this and we can, you know, give you like no can be a no, but it's usually like not right now, you know? And so it's all about getting small commitments along the way. Like when we email somebody, it's never like, will you do a brand deal? You know, and I have clients in my program that are like, I sent an email out to 100 brands and none of them responded. I was like, show me what you wrote them. And it's like, hi, I'm me and I love me and I want to talk about me and I want you to give me money. Yeah. And it's like, that's not my template. That is not what I told you to do. Your scarcity mindset took over and you got afraid. And so you started telling them all the reasons why they don't care about you. Like they care about them and their bottom line. Like that woman, that man that you're writing to has like job responsibilities and has a busy life and a busy schedule. So fit your communications into that, right? So our first email is like, hey, you do a lot of great content on cat food. We are launching a brand new cat channel and I'd love to explore some collaboration opportunities. Have you ever worked with influencers before? ?
Right.
Not thanks, comma, Jim Jones, ACP, BCS, LinkedIn. Right. Have you ever worked with influencers before? ? Done. You know? And then hopefully they respond. If they don't, they don't. But you're going to send 10 of those out. And so you're going to get a lot of people. Here's what, if you're reaching out to GoPro, come on. Like reach out to the Facebook ads that you see in your newsfeed. reach out to the Instagram ads that you see in your newsfeed. Like those people are actively on social, right? And then there's, or I got this from an app the other day. We've never worked with influencers before, but we're open to it. I'll talk to, can you tell me a little bit more? That's perfect. Because then your whole objective is to get on a Zoom call, So can you tell me more? Yeah, absolutely. Like my goal is like, I'm an expert content creator. I can crank out content for you guys. You have an excellent social media marketing team. You guys can boost out the content. Like I'd love to do something where I'm making a ton of great content for you using all of my great stuff. And then you guys can use it to grow your business,
When do you, and Owen, when do you, I feel like I have about 3 to 4 follow-up questions.
Please.
Hopefully I'll get into a little more rapid fire.
I'll answer shorter. Yeah, I know that I ramble. I'll answer shorter.
Oh, no, not at all. This is like really juicy stuff. I mean, we have to break it down for people. So one is, when do people choose to, or pitch creating content on their own channels versus, hey, brand XYZ, I can do this for you. Like, what's the balance?
Like I would kind of like feel them out. Like notice how in that last conversation, I didn't say on your channel, I just said I would create content for you. And then you guys would distribute it out. Like I didn't say whose channel it would be on. Gotcha. And so that's why you keep it really top level, where it's like, I'm going to do what I'm good at. And then you guys do what you're good at. That like, let's jump on a Zoom call and chat more.
Yeah, to learn more. So before you come to a conclusion, you bite your nails, like just relax. And sometimes the best way to pitch to people is, like you said, you're not desperate. You don't need this, even though you need this, but you have to give yourself a chance.
What you need more than anything else is like to have the conversation and go through the ropes, right. Like go through the steps, because after a while it'll be kind of like on Tuesdays and Thursdays I reach out to brands, and that's just kind of what you do. Like that's and we have people that do that for us now at this point, so it's in the call where you're like, so do you guys want this on your channel, or is it better if it's on my channel and then you embed it in your blog? Like just find out, And again, we have I think if you go to owenvideo.com/brand deals, I think that we have all of like a kit that you could buy on our email templates and all these things. Yeah. And it's a great pro, because it's a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this is a really, really good advice here. I definitely want to get into, pricing just for a bit. Sure. People get really tripped up by that. And frankly, at the beginning, I had no idea. I was like, what is it? $50, $300? Like, how am I supposed to charge for this? One thing I'll say is that neither one of us can reveal how much we get paid for certain brands just in the contract. That's not what we're trying to do here. But is there a way to coach people, teach people based on either their channel size, what they're about, to begin to assess? I have a formula in mind, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Yeah. $1 million. Like that's okay. Cause that's the thing is like, you're worth $1 million, but today they're going to get it for the low price of. And what I mean by that is that you are worth more than you are giving yourself credit for. When you know your worth in the marketplace, then you're able to construct a more realistic price. For example, the average cost of a marketing video in a local business scenario is $800 to $1,200. Okay. So that means you could go to local businesses, restaurants are a big one, real estate agents are another one. You could go to a local business and charge, $500 per video. And I would never do that. I would say 3 videos for $1,500. And what they're getting is 3 videos instead of the 1 video that would have cost them $1,200 if they hired a videographer to do it themselves. Right. Plus, they don't have to make it. Plus, the value of someone else, the edification of someone else saying, you should hire this agent, you should go to this restaurant, is more valuable than the restaurant saying, hey, you should come to us, you should come to us. Of course, the restaurant's going to say that. But when you as a spokesperson or as an ambassador, as an influencer for that company, you are telling people to go to that restaurant, and that's more powerful. So 3 videos for $1,500, I could close that all day long. But the formula is, what would this client have to pay for their own video, you know, that promotes themselves? And then you charge that or lower. You know, like I'm the guy that kind of like lowers the price to get the deal. And that's why my wife does our sales now, because like I was closing all of these deals that just like I closed so many deals, but they weren't all profitable at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And
women are good at choosing prices.
Yeah,
an investment.
She crushes it. You know, she crushes it for us. So
that's amazing.
But you know, like you got to know your value though too. Like at the end of the day, you're thinking, oh, views and AdSense. The brand is on a like they have budgets of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The local company has budgets of hundreds or thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? And they don't necessarily want views. They want the product. They want the video. You know what I mean? So I think $500 for any creator to create a video is a good starting point. And I think that if you go lower than that, you have to say 500, but I'm going to give it to you for 250 today.
Right.
If you start at 250, then you're just kind of like, well, I'll find, you know.
Yeah. And it's true, you know, when you create, let's say content, I'm going to use a different scenario. I love the idea of restaurants because they're there. They don't have, many of them don't have video content. They don't even know how to do it, period. So you're creating an offer as opposed to competing with an ad agency, you know, who has internal teams, and you really got to pitch yourself as to why you're doing this for cheaper, for better, or whatever the reason may be. But, you know, I've lately, or for the past year and a half, I've almost exclusively worked with software companies, and they care about two things, basically awareness, getting their software out there, right? Especially if they're new. And the other is they want conversion. They want, these days with a lot of free signups, but they do want people to convert to paid members, as you can probably imagine, which is hard for us to control, right? So there are especially software that are really good that comes with a forever free version. These days, so many of them, including Restream, ConvertKit, MailChimp, a lot of there's forever free. And I hear this from people that say, oh my God, Faye, that was so cool. I can use it for free forever. And it's hard to control. But ultimately, what they want to do, they will give you a formula of basically how much is $50 a month. And we want your video to generate this number of signups is ultimately kind of what they're thinking about. Yeah. So what's your take on that? I'm curious.
You know, I would have to get paid a lot more than that, because it's kind of like, I can't control your messaging. You know, a lot of times a brand suffers from too many chefs, right? Like where you got way too many people who are unaccountable for your results making decisions. You know, for example, graphic designers, right? A graphic like you have no control over the designs the graphic designer at that company makes, but yet your payment relies on the conversion of that thing, you know, on the conversion of those graphics. So for me, I'd have to get paid a lot more. And I think that you have to be careful not to be responsible for the company's sales unless you're a salesperson, right? So like, Restream notwithstanding, because we're both Restream ambassadors, and we like, let me move to another example. I worked with a company that hired me to do a show for them, but about, you know, a year in, they started like talking to me about conversions, and I'm like, whoa. You hired me to do a show. That's what I'm good at. Now you're saying you're judging my show. My production value is based on these people that hit your crappy landing page. Absolutely not. Like, if you want me to stay to keep doing this, I was like, then I keep doing the show. If you guys want more sales tactics and stuff like that in the show, tell me what to do and I'll do it. We'll add them into the show. But my job was not to be, I don't need a salesperson job, you know? And so I think that it's a good idea to do affiliate marketing. Don't get me wrong, but go into that. Like with Restream, I entered into that deal going like, dude, I'll get conversions all day long on this. And we've done very well because we're a live streaming company. I like, we teach that. I couldn't do that with like this pillow company that makes the subscribe pillows. Yeah. I couldn't do that with them because like, I don't know that everybody needs that or wants that, or it's like, if you want me to do a show for you, I'll do a show for you. Want me to do some videos for you, I'll do. But what I don't do is I don't sell pillows. You guys sell pillows. So I will bring awareness to your pillow sales funnel for which you will pay me. But, you know, like the conversions on that page, it's not really my thing.
True. And for clarification's sake, even if they tell you, information from brands are good to have. It's better for them to tell you what they need, what their needs and wants are, as opposed to you guessing what they are.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's right. The transparency helps. However, just make sure that your payment, your work is not contingent based on their behaviors, their responsibilities, what I'm saying. So, and in a way, I think for content creators to be able to see behind the scenes, okay, here's a single video, how many people clicked, how many people converted, it is a really good exercise. Sometimes for some people it's stressful. For me, I love analytics. I would like to see what works, and that's interesting. So to respect your time, Owen, I know that at the beginning we had just a little bit of a technical issue, so I only booked an hour of your time. So my last bits, could you stay on for like 5 more minutes?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And like, I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to convert. You shouldn't be taking on products that you don't think your audience will buy. I think, and you might take on a product that you thought would do well and didn't do well. And those are all great learning expenditures. But like, I don't want to see creators going after, like a food. Like if you're a vegan, like you shouldn't be partnering with the steakhouse. Right. You know what I mean? Because even though you could probably like drive traffic there, it's not like what you stand for. It's like outside of your thing. You know what I mean? So it's all about finding relevant middle of the road or beginning brands. Like you stay away from GoPro, stay away from Johnson & Johnson, stay away from Mattel. I say this all the time. And creators, the first thing they do is they go for Mattel.
Yeah.
GoPro. Because and you told me to shoot for the moon. It's like, that's not what I said, man. Like you got to go get the coupon book that comes in your mail. Like everybody gets these things in their mail, and start looking at who like it could be the carpet cleaning guy. That's like a great fit for you. Maybe you have a cleaning channel. I don't know. Like there's a lot of things that you could do.
Really great advice. So I'm super curious for people who have matured in their content creation journey, and I see myself doing that, and I'm definitely continuing with my YouTube journey. What is your current routine, setup, schedule, this thing to make sure that you can consistently delivering your content? And who's doing the editing, marketing? If you could, that's super juicy to me.
Yeah, that's great. So we believe in systems and workflows, and I've been really good at this ever since I was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago. And I had to do chemotherapy really aggressively for a year. And so, I couldn't do all the things. I was running my business by myself at that point. And that's when I started to like learn the power of outsourcing and stepping away. But I also learned the power of time management. Like anytime someone says they're too busy, what they're really saying is I'm horrible at managing my own time, but I want you to like me.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, but please respect me. Right. It's like, I'm too busy is I don't manage my time well. It means I commit to things that I don't know that I can do. I put everything on my calendar and I see what happens. And this to me is like the folly of like American entrepreneurialism is like, I'm very passionate about time management because you only have one life. And so you've got to look at your time systematically. Creatives, I think, struggle, and I struggled with this until I got cancer. Creatives want to have all of this unstructured time. Like I want to create when I feel it. Okay. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? Like Michelangelo, first of all, was paid well for the Sistine Chapel. Okay. Michelangelo was a freaking millionaire. So was Leonardo da Vinci. They weren't starving artists. Okay. There's nothing cool about that. The second thing is that he had to show up for work every day. Like he was responsible to like the Pope or the bishop. You know what I mean? Like he had to show up to work every day. The trick as a creative is to know your rhythms and go read Atomic Habits is a good one. Like to try to like master your own rhythm. So like for me, I'm more creative in the morning. So I try to do all of my creative work in the mornings. I can't always do that because of my work demands, right? Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I have calls I have to do. And that's business. That's a different mind. It's a different brain. It's my Microsoft Excel brain versus my Adobe brain. So look at your month in 4 weeks. If there's a fifth week, that's unstructured time. Go celebrate. Go do whatever you want, right? But all those 4 weeks, you're going to be disciplined. You have the first and third week, the second and fourth week. Okay. So now you've got Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I think that you should look at your time in those time buckets. So for example, we run our program based on the first and third week of the month, the first and third Tuesdays of the month, right? We do X. Every Wednesday afternoon, I film videos. Every Friday afternoon, I film videos, right? And I have a flow that works this way. So you've got to find as a creative, like when you're most creative and schedule that time, okay? The other part of that is know what you can outsource. Like every creative listening to this right now, like needs to be thinking about what am I going to outsource first and what am I going to outsource next? You want to truly be an entrepreneur? Hire someone. Truly, right? Because I'm a creative entrepreneur. I make no money and I have no team and I have no staff. And like, you're not an entrepreneur, right? I get it. You want to be, you're a wantrepreneur. I get that. I respect that. But I want to get you to, here's where well, only I can edit my way. And that might be true. Maybe editing is not what you outsource. Only I can design graphics my way, you know? Only I can write blogs my way. Like this is the trap of the artist.
Yeah.
You know,
artist trap. What about you guys? What is the team like right now? Like who do you?
Yeah, so we have one person in charge of one task and we have a 3-person administrative team. So it's me, Carmen, and Teresa are the management team. Me and Teresa, my wife, are owners of the company, and she's like the business development specialist, and I'm sort of like the visionary. Carmen is like our VP of everything. She's our integrator. She's the one that deals with all of our sort of like staff members. We have Carlos, who produces 2 shows for us. He produces the Restream show and he produces the Cast Iron Babe show. We have Angel, who produces the Dr. Jake podcast. We have Lindell, who is our website manager and our blog uploader. We have SEO Express writers who writes and turns all of our blogs into these SEO things. We have Video Husky, who does our editing for us. And we have Design Pickle that does all of our graphic design. So we have like these 6 people that Carmen manages them.
You don't even have to manage them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do a little because I'm teaching Carmen. I'm mentoring Carmen. Yeah. But that's where my role is. I spend very little time with the actual staff member. Like I don't, if I'm the most important person in their world, then I'm not doing entrepreneur right. You know what I mean? Like, and it took me years to learn this lesson, by the way, because for years I was like, no one can edit like me. No one can graphic design like me. No one can do webinars like me. And this is the first year of being in business, like 8 years, that I'm finally stepping back from these things.
Yeah. Sorry, repeat that one more. This is the first time in three years?
In 8 Like I've had this business for like 8 years, and I've hired people, but I fire them because it's like, you don't do it like me. Right? You're not as good as me. And I put no effort into training them or mentoring them or nurturing them. What I did was truly, I didn't want to hire anybody. I wanted to be the best at everything so I could walk around with my chest puffed out. But then I got cancer, you know? And then I got blood clots from the chemotherapy. Like my health has been this ongoing journey for me. And it's like, I cannot be working 80 hours a week at these massive stress levels. It's time for me to start hiring. And truly the designers that we have now and the video editors now do a better job at the type of work that we do than I did myself.
Are they individuals or are they companies? I know you named some.
Video Husky, Design Pickle, and SEO Express writers are companies, but then the others are individuals, and we have a good mixture of those things. At the end of the day, even though it's a company, I have one editor at Video Husky, and at Design Pickle, I have one graphic designer. You know, at SEO Express writers, it could be I have one contact, but she's going to assign it to any writer that she thinks is going to be best at it. But you got to find the best tool for the job, right? For some of you, like, I think that the best thing that you could do is you find the thing that you hate the most. Like for my wife, who also manages our home, you know, in partnership with me, she needs to get out of like prepping vegetables and doing laundry. Right now, don't get me wrong, for those of you guys here, like I do laundry too. But there's 8 baskets of laundry upstairs that need to be folded. And
for kids,
truly, neither one of us should be folding it. So we're going to hire someone to help us with that so that we can, when our time with the kids is not spent doing laundry, it's playing in the park. While some other young person who's trying to be an entrepreneur earns money folding my laundry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how long have you had this system? Where does it run? A few years?
Yeah, I mean 2 years, I think.
Okay.
But like, here's the problem is that I've been not willing to give up. I have been a control freak.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I mean is 2020, 2021 is the first year that I've ever like really decided in my head and in my heart that I need to step back. Because I want to make comedy. I want to do stand-up comedy. I want to make family-friendly comedy that your whole family can watch together.
Mm-hmm.
I want to write sitcoms. I want to write movies. And I'm never going to be able to do that passion, that retirement project, if I'm in the muck of the coaching business.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you're constantly, that's something, another note is that you're constantly going through transitions. So we don't just stay the same as content creators.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it can be hard, but there's also a lot of freedom to the videos that you're creating, right?
Yes.
Like you don't have to cater to so many people. You just kind of experiment. But I was also curious, okay, would it be fair to say that right now your energy is focused on content creation? Perhaps that means you script your video, you record on Wednesday and Friday afternoon. From that point on, I don't know, you drop your videos you upload them to a Dropbox and you're done. Like everybody else knows what to do after that.
Yes. And then I critique their work. You inspect what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so on Fridays, in fact, we were meeting before I jumped on this call. On Fridays, we review the work, and that's when I give coaching and consulting and feedback. But I have to be willing. So for example, my producer uploaded a video to YouTube and it didn't perform very well. I went in there, changed the title, and it's now top performing video on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, I get mad sometimes that it's like, why didn't you pick the better title? But again, that comes back to me and it's like, well, Owen, why didn't you teach them how to do this more effectively?
Right.
And this is where I try to train our client. We help our clients hire too. And so like with my clients, what I find is they can be very impatient. And it's like, if your outsourcer messes up once, it's like you just fire them, find somebody new. Truth is you hire very slowly and you fire very quickly. But the idea is that you nurture, and you show them how to do it. You hire someone, you leave them alone. And it's like, you can't do that. Like in the beginning, you got to be with them 2 times a week, bugging them. Where are you at? And I've had outsourcers say like, hey, you seem to be touching base a lot. And it's like, the moment you start touching base, I won't need to touch base with you anymore. I'm trying to train them that you check in every day, or every day you do work for me, you just check in,
Yeah, I mean, you've been such an open book on transparency is something I always appreciate. So the next part of the question, don't feel like you have the answer, but you're at a different stage now as a content creator. Yeah. Nobody, right, should. If tomorrow you're starting your YouTube channel, yeah, it might take a little while for you to understand who you are and who you should hire. But it sounds like there are a lot of people, multiple people, responsibilities. And how much are you budgeting in, if there's a range for getting help to achieve this level?
This is the Microsoft Excel part of the business,
right?
And we sort of work backwards, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. Like I'm still hiring out a financial team. Your financial team should consist of someone who like does your bookkeeping, someone who does like your taxes, and not just like at H&R Block. Like you need someone who's like specific and entrepreneurial, creative, artistic type of taxes.
I understand you in your business too. Like
and then you need someone who is actually like driving your investments. And like we don't have all those things right now. So like we're not great at budgeting, and you don't have to be. Like at the end of the day, it's like we need to hire an editor. It's going to cost $560 at Video Husky. So do we have $560 times 12 in the bank account? Yes, hire them. And then it was the same thing with the podcast editor. It's like how much it's going to cost us, like $40 a week to hire her. Like, oh dude, sign her up. You know what I mean? That's nothing, because we're making so much more on that for the client investment. So, it's like every sort of dollar you make should be working towards hiring someone to do the work that you don't want to do.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I need to hear this right now.
Your
That's
whole
why
business, your whole
yeah.
business should be like here's what I think the mistake that I made is I started making 6 figures my first year. And so immediately it's like we bought a house, we bought new cars, things that I feel like were maybe we like, I think it's really good to reward yourself. Maybe we over rewarded ourselves. What I would do now, what I would coach someone in doing is before you buy the house, buy a VA. Right? And get out of some of the muck. Like all the money you should be making should be hiring somebody. So you should be in a place where you're broke as a joke, but the company is making sales automatically with hired hands who are getting paid and you're not involved. That's a business. Now, not everyone's going to achieve that, but you achieve varying levels of it. This is what investment companies do, right? Like when Elon Musk starts a company, he gets investment from investors, right? And then they hire the people, they get the building, they train the people so that the business can now run without them. This is what we need to do.
Yeah, this is exactly what we need to do. Oh my God, I can talk to you forever. I got to ask a couple of more questions if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just a couple of more minutes. One thing is there's, like you said, it is not a perfect balance sheet and it's not always so black and white. Making decisions should be easy. In some cases, you might have to sit down and looking at your financials. So for me, for instance, I have some of my passion projects, which I get paid for, but I don't request a lot of money for just a few things that are really, really important to me. And some of that is related to palliative care and childhood cancer, frankly.
Wow,
and
really?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we can, I can definitely send you some links and some information. And I'm really passionate about it. And then there are, the other circle of my regular consulting clients who can afford a lot more, retainers and all that. And then, of course, there's a third, this is more like a triangle, but there's a third bubble of the Feisworld content, podcast, YouTube, a little more passive income. So, I think it's interesting. Like when I look at my VA, I have my VA passionately working on my passion projects. So we can talk about it for hours, but that bubble doesn't generate as much revenue. So like, as you're saying, part of me is like, okay, I know I need to offload a lot of work, but which does it even matter for me to figure that out right now? Or should I just cold turkey and just really try to offload as much as possible? Because on one hand, Owen, like I'm not super busy. I love kids. I don't have kids, so I have time. But the other thing is like, maybe I don't even know what I'm made of. I don't know what my potential is because my time is currently sucked up with these things. I should be offloading. I'm not sure if that makes sense. It's just
it does. Yeah. I think that you need to like know what work brings you life and what work brings you death. Right. And it does bring death. Like as someone experienced with cancer, like high stress is a toxin that can change your mitochondrial function, which could express itself as cancer and most likely will if you have other metabolic disorders like high cholesterol, or a low CBC count. Like we could talk about this for hours, but like, so you need to know what work is bringing you life, what work is bringing you death, and set yourself up so that the work that brings you death is being outsourced, because the work that brings you death will bring someone else life.
Yeah.
And you need to find that person, right? Find that person and train that person. And they're probably in the Philippines or in Pakistan or in South America. And that's okay. Like I'm so proud to be feeding families all over the world.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be ashamed in that. I know that somebody was a hire American, and that's a great bumper sticker, but is it a reality for every entrepreneur? I don't think so. Especially not when every American wants $80,000 an hour and healthcare. You know what I mean? Like that's, like
that's a good bumper sticker. Sorry.
It's true. It's like, it's not a real way of living. What that is like these excuses that we tell ourselves so that we can live small. And what I would do, like you want to spend more time in the things that give you life. So make a list of the things that bring you death and hire for one of those things.
Yeah.
And get them good. Like we're hiring a social media manager right now. And that social media manager is going to do a bunch of things for us. They're going to grow LinkedIn. They're going to grow Instagram. They're going to post on my profile, but we're not hiring them for that. Right now, we're hiring them to post in to all 3 of our Facebook groups for 30 days and see if we even like them.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not just, it's one job per hire. You hire one, like our podcast editor. We're going to have her edit 1, maybe 3 podcasts, but after 3, it's time to hire a new podcast editor and get 3 more podcasting clients. You see where that's where business growth comes in, right? So we're not going to hire her to be our podcast editor, my VA, my blog writer. And this is the super VA myth that everybody seems to believe in, right? Like I'm going to hire one VA that can do everything, when really that's not what a VA is. It's unfair to that person, unfair to you. So if you're like, okay, I need somebody to write blogs for me, hire a blog writer. That's it. Right. And are they going to be the right person to upload your YouTube videos? I don't know. Like get them on the blog writing thing, see how that goes, see if you even like them, and then say, hey, I'm thinking about having you upload these to YouTube. What do you think about that?
Right.
You know, and then build off of that one person. When you found that limit, go to the next person. Right. But just because you have time doesn't mean that you should be wasting your time. True. You know, you should be putting your time into building the company I wish that I would have built, right? Which is outsource the muck from the beginning. If I had outsourced early on, I may not have gotten cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Owen. There's a lot more to talk about, but this is so fantastic. I seriously didn't quite expect this level of details and transparency and wisdom. So I know you probably know what I'll be doing for the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to revisit, my offload list and really focus on the things because it would be a dream come true for me to focus on scripting, recording videos, do this, and just let everybody else handle.
And that might be a dream for a year. You might that was me. I loved it. And now I'm in a place where it's like, I don't even want to make videos on my channel anymore. Like I want to make comedy now. And so and that's okay. It's okay. Like do what you want now and be open to change, because we are going to grow. We are going to mature. And like in a year, you may be like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to sell my channel, or I'm going to partner with someone on this channel. Like it opens up so many new doors, and that is entrepreneurialism.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, because it's giving me like goosebumps of
yes, I love to hear that.
Yeah, next level of thinking. But thank you so much, Owen Video, for your time. And again, all the links in the description below. I'll also be repurposing this for my regular podcast platforms.
Can't wait.
On everything: Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple. I'm very intrigued, and I will be repurposing this into a lot of clips, shorts, that sort of thing. So look forward to continue our conversation in the near future.
I can't wait. I can't wait to have you on my show, and we'll just keep this conversation going.